Hello, bonjour, bonsoir, and welcome to the finale of Emily in Montreal. I'm leaving tomorrow, and even if I did get a chance to take more pictures, which I don't know what I would take pictures of, I'm pretty much just going to the train station. I don't know when I would get a chance to record a video about them. It would have to be back when I was in Waterloo. And then it's Emily in Waterloo? That just doesn't seem right. But yeah, it's over, my month in Montreal. It feels at once both like it went really, really quickly, but also that I haven't spent any time here at all. Like it went really fast. Or sorry. I feel like at once it went really quickly, but at the same time, it feels like I've been gone for way longer than I have. Like when I think about, how long it's been since I was at home, it feels like 4 or 5 months maybe. And yet, when I think about the number of days I've spent here, it only seems like 6 or 7 days. I don't know. I don't know what that means. It's kind of a weird time dilation and contraction. But overall, a great time. Let's look at this last set of adventures. So, the day after I recorded the last video, I thought I'm really not going to overdo it. I don't want to injure myself again. I don't want to strain or whatever. So I spent pretty much the whole day recovering. I ate this quiche that I mentioned I bought in the last episode. It was fantastic. There was so much spinach in it and these big mushrooms. I don't know what type of mushroom they were, but they were really meaty and savory and just overall delicious. This is one of the best quiches I've ever had. Just heated it up in the oven. Kind of tempted to try to buy another one for the trip home, but I don't know how well it would travel since it's frozen. But yeah, fantastic. Then that night I just got pho again delivered because I love pho so much and the instant pho made me crave it. And this time I really strategically timed the insertion of the broth so that the beef didn't get overcooked. I just got from the same place again because it was really good. Yeah, pho, amazing. One of humanity's greatest foods. And this is very strange. Okay, so there had been a couple times where someone would come to the door and they were like an Uber Eats delivery person or whatever. And I would be like, no, this is the wrong place. And they'd be like, no, look, the app told me to go here. And I'm like, yeah, but that app, the address is a different street. You want to be on the next street over or whatever. It's just some weird error in whatever delivery app this is. And I thought, they're always knocking and stuff. They're always waiting for confirmation. But what if somebody just left something there that was meant for somewhere else and I never found out about it? Well, that's exactly what happened this time. When I went down to get my pho, there was another bag of food there that had these hot dogs and fries. And I was like, okay, what am I supposed to do? There's really nothing I can do. I just got a free hot dog, and, some poor person is missing their hot dog, but, alas, hopefully they got refunded or whatever. So I just fried these up again in the pan a few days later, and they're pretty tasty. It's kind of like a spicy sausage. I'm not sure what it was exactly. It wasn't super spicy, but the inside was very red. So yeah, very flavorful. Pretty good. I have no clue where they came from. Maybe some people would advise against just eating mysterious food out in the snow, but they didn't advise me in time. Here I was just out exploring again. I saw this tribute to Mordecai Richler? Mordecai Richler, I think, yeah. Who's a children's author, a very famous French-Canadian, a big part of many Canadian children's childhoods. I saw these little yellow doors. I don't know, whenever there's these color coordinated doors, I think they're very cute for the whole building, even though there's 3 different apartments, all the same door. So my goal was once again to go to Wolinski's with Richard and get the Wolinski Special. And last time we went, it was closed. This time I got here a little early because I wanted to shop around in the area. So I sent him a picture that I was like, yeah, this time. For real, this time. Shoutouts Tyler. And we'll see if it made my earthquake, the Wolinski Special. There is a store near there that's a Japanese paper store. And it's this old white couple, a French-Canadian couple, that just love the art of Japanese paper making. So they import all sorts of different types of Japanese paper and other Japanese crafty stuff. There was like a huge origami section. They even had like some kimonos and obis you could buy, all sorts of other like little crafty Japanese stuff, a big calligraphy section. And then in the same way that these kind of this like famous Japanese paper gets made, they make their own paper here too, which I thought was really cool. So I took a quick snapshot of their paper supply zone. I'm not sure where the actual paper gets made, but it's just like very traditional, like pulping kind of papyrus type paper. That was neat. This I just thought was kind of a cozy scene. Just these little balconies out in the alley. This guy was up here having a smoke. Just, I don't know, a nice little slice of life. I saw this Frida street art on somebody's door. Thought it was pretty cool. I don't know what's on her forehead, but whatever. I saw this, which I kind of led me down like a weird thought pit where I was like, wow, like COVID has been happening for so long that these things are now like worn out and they're being ripped and faded and stuff. And it kind of feels like Generation 1 COVID, you know? Like that this was put up in 2020 sometime. And it's just like, God damn, this has been happening for so long now. It's actually so absurd that this living history of the pandemic has now reached a part where like the earliest signs of it are getting lost to time. So here we are at Wolinski's. This is the famous Wolinski Special. Wolinski's, their whole thing is that they're just frozen in time. They opened in like 1932 or something, and they've been serving the exact same food, the exact same recipes. The price has incremented as slowly as possible. I think this was like $4, and it came with some pickles. It was pretty freaking fantastic. I don't know. It's so simple, but it just hits. It's just some meat and a bun and some cheese, and they put the whole thing on the grill and they grill it all together. The meat is pre-cooked with a bit of mustard. And there's all these kind of like archaic house rules that they reference in like memes. You know, one thing is like, no, we'll never cut the sandwich. You got to eat it like this. And then there's like a little poster of like an orangutan, and he's going, they won't even cut the sandwich for me? And it's just so silly. Like I don't know, it's just so charming. The language that has been built up around this, just the rich storied tradition of a place that hasn't changed in almost 100 years. Here's the inside. It's just a few slices of meat. But man, it was good. It was really tasty. It really hit the spot. I got a milkshake too. This one is also interesting. So they have homemade sodas and homemade milkshakes. And all it is just a selection of syrups they have, which they combine with either soda water or milk. And this is just straight up milk and syrup frothed together. There's no ice cream. And it made me think, why is it that we think that milkshake should contain ice cream? There's nothing about the name that suggests ice cream. When did this ice cream expectation meta take over? And the idea of just a flavored, frothy, shaken up milk beverage kind of fell off the radar. But at Wolinski's, where nothing has ever changed, that's what you get. And it was really tasty. It was more refreshing than your modern milkshake because it is just, you know, nice strawberry milk. This was a wall of Wolinski's regulars. And the idea here is you write how long you've been coming to Wolinski's. I think this is so lovely. This is such a lovely, lovely idea. With the kid coming since 2012, probably when he was born. People going back to the 60s, 1937, 1932. These guys OGs. Isn't that amazing? I think this is such a great visual display. It's beautiful. A whole family. Cute. Ah, so nice. I don't know, places like this, they're just so special, you know? is something that it seems like Montreal really, really values. And at the bottom here, you can see there's a bunch of books. I don't know where these come from or why they're selling them here, but there was like 3 shelves of books, mostly just kind of like pulpy paperback novels, and then a whole big rack of CDs, which actually had some bangers. There was like a Daft Punk album, a Los Campesinos album, and they're all just $1. Everything is $1. And I think it might be for charity, because they also say, don't tip us, we don't accept tips. If you leave money, we'll just donate it to this specific charity. So maybe the books and the CDs go to that too, and they're just like things that people donate. I don't know. It's fun though, you know? You pop in for a sandwich, you grab an album. They had this really old cash register too, which is kind of cool. National Cash Register. That's where Alex works. Shout out to Alex. They've been around forever. Anyways, then we left Wolinski's. My heart was as full as my stomach. Actually, I wasn't super full. It is indeed a light lunch, as they say. It's just kind of like a snack, which was great because then we could eat some other stuff too. Here's Wolfman again. I guess I don't know if it's a man. It could be Wolfwoman, Wolf NB. But I was having a lot of fun cataloging all the spots I saw this graffiti. And with Google geotagging, we can actually very trivially make a map out of all these pictures. This is an old bank. I thought it looked cool. These big Greco-Roman type buildings. We went to a bakery that Richard knew of that he knew was really good. You could tell it was really good because they were sold out of almost everything. I got the last chocolate croissant and it was fantastic. There's a more in focus picture. And I got the last lemonade, which was really nice too. Not too sweet. Not too sweet. This was just some cool snow drifting thing that had accumulated. And Richard was like, well, I like when the snow drifts like that. And I was like, oh yeah, me too. I'm going to take a picture of it. And then he also took a picture of it. I thought yeah, it's fun. It's a real Canadian moment. Just 2 people standing there taking pictures of the snow. But it looks cool, right? Look at that. It looks like a friggin' Group of 7 painting. It looks like a Georgia O'Keeffe painting. This was, we decided to kind of walk around the Mount Royal area. We didn't go up the mountain itself. That's quite a time and energy investment, but we poked around these woods, just walking and chatting. There's a big statue here of Jacques Cartier, and I said, who is that man? And Richard was like, oh, that's Jacques Cartier. And I was like, I completely forgot who that is. And as he was like, you know, he explored a lot of Canada during settlers' time. You know, he was the first white man to go here and stuff, besides the Vikings maybe. And I was like, oh yeah, like it was in there. You know, I'm sure I did like a whole unit on this in grade school history, but it just fell out at some point. It was a little uncanny. At some point, Cartier to me just meant the fashion house. Coach Cartier. Call me Coach Cartier. That's a A$AP Ferg song. Someone had made a little igloo here. I thought that was kind of neat. It looks kind of funny. But I actually saw a few of these once I started kind of looking for them. People kind of like dig into the snow and then pile up a little mound around it. Seems cozy. Seems like fun. So this was the walking paths around the base of Mount Royal. There's a lot of like skiing paths along here for cross-country skiers. You can see it's kind of like stratified. So like there's a path along here, So you can just kind of like wander up and down. It's really nice. I don't know. Good trees. Trees everywhere. Lots of fences. Maybe for deer. We were talking about, do deer come through here? And our conclusion was probably not, because this park is like completely surrounded by the city. So it's like, how would deer get here? And how would they leave? I wonder though, why are there so many fences? I guess this is to keep you on the path. I guess, yeah, they're just to keep you on the path. This was the frame of a grand piano, or the upper frame or whatever, nailed to a wall. And I was like, is that a piano? And Richard was like, yeah, there's a really famous piano store here. But unfortunately, the piano store had closed permanently at some point. But you can see, Montreal piano. And forevermore, hopefully, this piano will stay there as a testament to it. I also really like the sign, which was right next to it, that said "Clean your dog shit." I guess that's a problem around here. Here's just some street art that I liked. I like this little fishy. Cute. Peterific. This was a porn theater. We were talking about how rare it is to see something like this anymore in the age of the internet. Free entry for couples on Monday and Tuesday. And there's a private VIP section for couples. Well, you gotta make a living somehow, I guess. I don't really know how it behooves you to let people come in here and do their business for free, and then you gotta clean it up, presumably. What a nightmare zone. But, you know, whatever floats your boat. Can you imagine living in these apartments, though? I mean, not necessarily that you'd, like, hear anything, you know, but just the knowledge would haunt me. This was Schwartz. This is probably the most famous deli in Montreal. And we were talking about, you know, it's really, really good, but is it really so much better than the other delis that you'd be willing to wait in line? And that's actually like a pretty good question, because I think in some ways waiting in line actually like adds to the experience too, right? Like it's an appetizer in and of itself. But here it is. I didn't go in it because every single time I passed by here, so maybe only once. No, I think I was past here another time. Huge line. And right across the street is another deli that Richard says is really good too, so this was some strange street art. The entire theme, I guess, is just, you know, kind of weird bootlegs you might see, where they have like Flamin' Mario and Devilish M&Ms, and we got Sonic and Garf and Bart hanging out here, a dynamic trio if I've ever seen one. So I guess it's just kind of an homage to all of those weird Chinese mishmash t-shirts and stuff. I have no kind of clue what the commercial purpose of this. Maybe it's just publicly funded art. Yeah, there we go. That's cool. I like this one. And it seems like ripe for tagging too. You know, we were talking about this before, like street art that like integrates itself well as a canvas for future graffiti developments. I think this one is like, you know, is going to look more and more cool as people add to it. Then we went to a vintage store. I thought this dress was really cool. From 1968, France. It's like so classic. It's not even a dress, sorry. It's a jumpsuit. It's just so classic that it almost feels like not real. But pretty sweet. Really retro. They had a lot of their cool stuff. This military jacket I was intrigued by. It comes with the hat too. I'm not sure what military I would be representing. Might not be the wisest choice in today's climate. But yeah, really impressive vintage store. And then I think right next door was another one. I like this dress too. I don't know why I took pictures of these things. It's not like I'm gonna go back and buy them necessarily. They don't even fit me, but I don't know, it's cute. You like something? This one I thought was very interesting. It's like gold flake. And in motion it actually kind of looks cool, but like I think from a lot of other angles it would just look dirty. It would look like a truck drove by and sprayed you with mud. But you know, it's an interesting idea. This was a museum. I think we figured out that it was a museum. I was like, what is this castle-looking building? I'm trying to figure it out. So it's like an old fort that actually used to be used as a barracks, or whatever. And now it's a museum for such things. Kind of neat. Looks pretty intimidating. Here's another graffiti that says Laos. That one and the wolf kanji are the main two that I was kind of collecting wherever I saw them. I like this guy a lot too. I'll take a picture of him wherever I saw him. Look at him. Is that a dinosaur? That's not how a dinosaur works. That looks like my friend Michael trying to draw an animal. Shoutouts to Michael. Not watching this. But yeah. This is another big church. This is a Baptist church, I guess. Yeah, Baptiste. Sure. Pretty beautiful. pretty grand from another angle. So then we went to one of my favorite places I've been to in Montreal, just in total, in any genre. This place called At Matcha. And I'm going to show you something mind-blowing. Something that I don't think I have ever seen anywhere else. Are you ready for this? 5. Not 4.9, not 4.8, as we see here and here, which is very impressive too. Not only 3 reviews, 181 reviews, 5. Look at that. That's nuts. So let me tell you why it's crazy, but once you go there, you're like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. This is once again run by just some white dude who loves matcha. Just like that old Japanese couple, that old white couple that loved Japanese papermaking. This dude just loves matcha. You can tell by this matcha that he's poured. No, I'm just kidding. So we came in. He's like, oh, I guess, have you been here before? And Richard was like, I've been here before, but she hasn't. I was like, yeah. So immediately he sits us down and he just starts bringing us bottle after bottle of different concoctions he's made. And most of them have a matcha base. Some of them had a hojicha base. This one has an oolong base. But he just takes really high-grade tea powder and then he brews it with... typically there's like a fig base for sweetness, or sometimes the sweetness comes from like banana or avocado. He uses all sorts of like spices and stuff, cardamom, cinnamon, nutmeg, and let me tell you that these are delicious. These are so delicious. And just the way that he would bring them out, and he would kind of chat with us. He would ask, what did you think of that one? We would kind of guess, what was in it. Oh, no, it's actually this and this. This one had like blackberry in it, as well as something else. And they were all like really delicious. And he just seemed like the most genuinely positive, nice, enthusiastic person. While we were there, another woman came in. She had just moved to Montreal. She had never been there before either. She just wanted to get some matcha powder for takeaway, and like a drink for takeaway too. And she said, I'm starting the skincare line. I'm making skincare products with matcha. And he was like so excited about that. They were kind of joking around and talking about that. And then he was just trying to like give her all sorts of stuff because he was just so excited about the prospect of like, working with her on this project maybe in some capacity, or like supplying her with matcha, or like even just the fact that she was obviously a big fan of matcha and that they had found each other. He was just, he's, I'll take this too. I'll take this too. And she goes, oh, do you have a straw? I want to drink some now. And he goes, oh, here, I sell metal straws. And she's like, oh, I can pay for that. No, just take one. Yeah, you know what? Take two. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy, this guy is just like unbelievably friendly. So for a while I was taking pictures of all the different drinks he brought us. Probably, I think at least 8 different samplers in these little cups. And I was saying to Richard, this guy could just be making so much more money. Like, if you had taken me here and said, oh, the thing to do is to get the $5 like sampler, and you get to try all these stuff, and then you get to figure out which one you like, I would have been like, yeah, sold. Like, that's a great deal, of course. But no, this was totally free. He was just excited to show us this stuff. And then all over the place, he had these handmade watercolor advertisements for the different blends and stuff. And there was this black sesame and hojicha pudding that you could have hot or cold. So let's try that. Let's get that hot. I think Richard had it a few times before. So this is what it looks like inside. Lots of art. Just a really nice space. I don't know. I was so charmed. I felt like I could just stay there for hours and hours and hours. That I could come there every day. Here's another one. Another one. These aren't very flattering pictures, but here, I can show you the ones that I got. One sec. So I got 2 half-liters. He sells liters and half-liters of all his different blends. I just got half-liters because, I'm leaving soon. And they come in these really handy glass bottles that you can return for like a rebate, or you can just hold on to and use. So I got the Matcha Nana, which is matcha sweetened with banana. Doesn't look that appetizing, but I'll have a little sip and try to vicariously pass it on to you. It's so good. Not too sweet. You just get that like really earthy, vivid taste of matcha. And the banana is not at all overpowering, but it still tastes like banana. And it really tastes like actual banana. It's not banana flavor. It's not sweeter than actual banana is. But it's as if you were just drinking really nice cold matcha and eating a banana. Does that sound appealing? And there's some other stuff in here too. I can't remember what. I took a picture of the menu, so we can try to use our French. And then I also got the blackberry oolong one, which was the first one we tried. It's just really nice. I don't have too much because it's caffeinated. I'm gonna go to bed soon, but I'm so weak to caffeine. Like, I'm not kidding. If I drank too much, it would actually impact me. It's so good. It's like you don't lose anything from the sensation as if you were just eating berries or just drinking straight berry juice. But the tea just kind of like spreads it out and like smooths it out. So it's not so intensely tangy. It's not so intensely sweet. It's still just like that tea experience of drinking like a very mild flavor and enjoying more just like the sensation of drinking it rather than being like overwhelmed by the flavor. I was so impressed. It was so tasty. So this is the pudding. It's just a warm black sesame pudding, but with like hojita powder infused. So you get the really rich, warm, mild flavor of hojicha, which I love so much. And then that like really kind of... How do you describe the taste of black sesame? I don't even know. It's pretty different than most things. But on top was... What is this? Maybe pistachio? Crumpled up in a pine nut? Is this pine nut? No, that's not pine nut. What is this thing called? It's like a tree thing. It's one of the tree nuts. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So warm and hearty. It felt like I was eating some sort of like staple, like rice porridge or oatmeal or something like that. Like it had that sensation of like hominess, and yet the flavor was really something new to me. It was a combination I had never really had before. Even though hojicha and black sesame are flavors that I've really appreciated on their own. The blend was new. Phenomenal. So here we go. This is the current menu. This is just matcha and like a watered down matcha. The smoocha, the banana matcha. Oh, there's some jasmine in it. Macadamia. Oh. Matcha amaretto. It's like brown rice. Almonds. Sesame matcha. So good. The avocado, I think Richard got. It's a banger too. The avocado matcha blend. Yeah, you can see, dude is just legit with it. So we got talking at the cash register about, tea, what makes a good tea, the sensation of preparing and drinking tea, flavoring tea. He's showing us kind of his like workstation. He was showing us how he procures and processes some of the ingredients and stuff. I was so impressed. And he had this book, The Philosophy of Tea, I think, or Teaism, and he was looking for a certain quotation of it. And he's like, "Yeah, this book is really good." He goes, "Here, I have 2 copies, so I'll lend you this one. You can just bring it back once you finish reading it." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like who is this guy?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm leaving the province like in 2 days." So and he's like, "Oh, next time." I was like, wow, I don't know, man. 1 in a million person. 1 in a million Google reviews. Tell me if you've ever seen this before. 181 reviews, all 5 stars. Fantastic. You know what? We're pulling up too. We're making it 182. Had a wonderful time sampling all of the owners' delightful and delicious concoctions. Not even close, huh? No, that was kind of close. What did I miss? The N? Did I put an N? We brought out many samples for us to try, and it was almost impossible to pick a favorite to take home. Hojicha, same. Really? I thought there was another A. Whenever I become very self-conscious of the errors I make, I'm like, damn, I make so many errors. It was fantastic too. So warm. Warm. Hearty. Will definitely return. Alright. Yeah, this guy was great. Then we left, saw this strange street art. Not really sure what's going on here. We saw, this is like that National Geographic cover, but like anime. Why? This is a very, very odd choice, in my opinion. Another interesting statue. This, not sure what's going on here. Not sure who this person is. May 1666. 1,000 years before 2666, which is a great novel. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm just so enamored by the matcha place. All I can think about is the matcha place. We walked past the big park. Actually, we kind of walked down and through here too. This is the big park that I walked through right after I got my boots. I saw kind of a different part of it. I thought this was interesting. So normally, Richard was saying the water level is such that you can't see any of this graffiti. This entire fountain is like submerged and just like the jets come out. But only in the wintertime, when the pond is drained or whatever, can you see the tagging. There it is again! For a second I was like, why did I take this picture? The wolf, Comrade Wolf is lurking. Yeah, there's a lot of people out skating. That was really nice to see. I took a little video, kind of try to capture some of the action. If it loads, la la la. Why is it taking so long to load? Let's go forward and back. But yeah, just endless skaters in all directions. Well, it just doesn't want to play. That's okay. All it was people skating around. You can simulate it in your mind. This was today. I went for kind of one last walk around my neighborhood to see if there was anything last minute I wanted to buy or do or whatever. And I ran into some really good spots. So I'm very glad that I took the trip. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't feel like doing another like big adventure. Just in case I overexert myself and then traveling tomorrow sucks. But yeah, this strange statue. I don't know why the eyes are reddited out. It's weird. I saw this chain link fence that had a bunch of hearts on it, but I couldn't really figure out why. Means something, for sure. Then I went to Saint Viateur, which is one of the really, really famous bagel places in Toronto. I talked before about the Saint Viateur Fairmount rivalry. I had some Fairmount bagels before, so now I thought I have to try Saint Viateur. And they had a cafe here. where you can have sandwiches and stuff, which was something we kept looking for before, and we kept running into places that just sold you the bagels. So I was really excited to have a sandwich here. We had freshly squeezed orange juice, so I got a glass of that. Here was my sandwich, came with some cantaloupe, got grilled chicken, got a nice slice of Swiss, you got some mayo, you got some pesto in there. You can't see it, but there's pesto. The bagel was phenomenal. Of course, they have a reputation for a reason. Look at the density of the sesame seeds, too. Damn it, I'm in like a real sesame kick lately, I guess. Aren't I? Huh, what does it mean? But yeah, fantastic. Then I was leaving, moseying around. I saw some graffiti that said Donda. Shoutouts Kanye, I guess. Saw this church. Looked like a nice church. I liked this shot of... It looked better in person, but I don't know. Just the steeple of the church, and then this mysterious big fork on the mountain, and then the big cross on the mountain, too. In the decaying lights of my last evening in Montreal. This I thought was interesting. The spiral staircase goes all the way to the roof. Why? I don't know. Thought this was some nice street art. Just cute. I don't know. I like birds. These are all, very famous Ontario type birds. The jay, the cardinal, this one. I don't know what this means. S'envoler. Wow. Here's more Donda graffiti. Somebody out there really trying to rep the controversial later stages of Kanye's career. But they got a fan in me. I haven't listened to Donda 2 yet, but Donda 1 fucking slaps. And here, I don't think I'd ever taken a picture of this before, but this apartment has a beautiful, huge clawfoot bathtub. And on this very last night, I thought, you know what, I should take a bath. Because it's very, very rare that I can find a bathtub that I can actually fit in comfortably. And here I was actually kind of close to comfortable. So that's a very nice treat for me. So I had a nice bath. And that's it. Just kidding. That's not it. Here at the Keats the YouTube channel, we have a strict policy of no videos under 45 minutes. An hour if we can help it. So I thought as a fun wrap-up activity, let's review Montreal. Let's talk about how I feel about the city as a whole. The way I think I'll do this, I want to exit. It's probably kind of just listing the pros and the cons of the city as I saw them, as a way to kind of summarize, I guess, the trip. And Paint.net is frozen. Bro, the whole idea of Paint.net is that it's supposed to be ultra lightweight. You can run it on a toaster. Oh, here we go. Okay. Doo-doo-doo. Pros. Make this way bigger. Cons. And here we'll be comparing it to Toronto, that being the other, big Canadian city that's roughly in the area. Let's start with the most important thing. Good European food. Compared to Toronto, I think it does have better European food overall. Just the number of pretty much all white people type food, I think they win. And then Jewish food. Especially, oh my god, it's not even close. The amount of amazing delis here, the storied traditions, all of the Jewish bakeries, the bagel places. Compared to Toronto, whose anti-Semitism, besides being just horrific in and of itself, self-evidently, was disastrous for the legacy of Jewish food there. The cons, less good Asian food overall. The fusion Japanese place we went to was fantastic, but not really a Japanese restaurant. And overall, just pretty lacking for sushi places. Asian grocery stores are few and far between and not that well stocked. Their Chinatown is just overall much smaller. These fusion places are really intriguing. And in the matcha place, which I absolutely loved, and in the Japanese paper place, we saw the power of the French weeb coming through. The French weebs are making amazing stuff out here. Along those lines, we can say better anime stores. And oh, that's not where that's supposed to go. Here we go. The French weebs, very strong. Better record stores too. And I would say better bookstores probably, but most of the stuff there is in French. But there's many big bookstores and many independent bookstores and stuff I saw all over the place. So for cons, here's a big one: French. Because of course I'm only speaking from my own experience about my own situation in these cities. So if you speak French, then obviously this isn't a con. But I don't, and a lot of people were like, it's not an obstacle not speaking French in Montreal, and that's true. It's not ever prevented me from doing something that I wanted to do. At the same time, it was just low-key awkward all the time, always. Interacting with service workers, situations where people are trying to make small talk with me or tell me something. I just felt so cut off, so awkward, so limited. I don't know, this sort of thing makes me neurotic. And it was almost harder here than in Japanese, because here there's kind of an expectation. Not so much that, they're offended if you can't speak French or anything, but they will speak French to you by default. Whereas in Japan, because you have very obvious gaijin-y features, they're going to speak English to you by default. So it does still feel kind of awkward in Japan for some of the same reasons, but in French it's more acutely awkward, I guess. There's more situations where you're really forced to confront the fact that you can't speak the language. I would get into a lot of ones where I could respond in French at first, and then very quickly their pace and their vocabulary exceeded my comprehension, and then it's really awkward to be sorry, I can't actually speak French, and then they seem a little exasperated because they're not really sure how much of that I really did comprehend. I don't know, maybe that's all in my mind. Maybe they're very, very used to it because there are a lot of tourists and people that don't speak French around Montreal. But it's too much for me. I'm too neurotic. I couldn't handle it. I think this alone precludes me from living in Montreal. Not that it's impossible to learn French, and not that I'm opposed to learning French. It's a lovely language. And of course, as a Canadian student, I actually learned quite a bit of French through public school and stuff. So it's probably dormant in there somewhere. And, words like dormant are in French origins. So there's a lot of intuitive loops you can make to understand the language. I can very slowly and with some errors comprehend written French. But even that is quite awkward because I do have to stop and deliberately read it and try to puzzle through. And sometimes, I just can't. Whereas in English, I just read everything automatically, instantly, subconsciously. And losing that is really isolating. Just makes you feel dissociated from the world that you're in. So yeah, this is a major detriment. Here's another one. Stuff closes way too goddamn early. I don't know why. Is it a religious thing? Is it just a cultural thing? I'm not opposed to it ideologically. I think the fact that workers are expected to give up their entire evenings for some shifts is kind of crazy. But I have gotten so used to that. and the fact that pretty much everything around here closes at 5 or 6. Some restaurants will go till 8. The odd place will go to 10 if you're really lucky. And I mean, there are also, 24-hour places too. Those do exist. But the default that most places, especially stores, it's 6. It's just mind-blowing. Also, a lot of stuff is just closed random days, which again, I support. I think it's good for days that all employees at the store can be sure every week they're going to get off. But I'm just so not used to it, and it drives me crazy. Especially as a tourist, there's so much stuff I want to do. And then I get out there and I'm everything's closed. So this is another major obstacle. What's another bad one? Hilly. So many hills. wears me out. It wears me out. Going up and down these hills. It feels like you're going uphill all the time. I think outside of winter it would be a lot better. It's because you have to trudge through the snow and the ice and stuff while you're going uphill that makes it really annoying. But it is way more hilly than Toronto. It's annoying. Or at least the parts of Toronto that I frequent. What are some good stuff? Cheaper. Getting more expensive. Richard and I were talking about how just in his time living here, which has been, I guess, like a year and a half to 2 years now, it has already significantly increased in price in a lot of ways. But still, compared to Toronto, way cheaper, especially for housing. But even like restaurants seemed cheaper. Groceries, I think, were cheaper overall. I mean, it's hard to compare like apples to apples because I didn't buy apples. But I don't know, just that's just I think a pretty common sentiment, and I think it's one that's grounded in reality that for now, Montreal is an extraordinarily cheap city for how big it is. Great subway. I think the subway overall is better than the Toronto subway. I mean, it's hard to say because I was only going to the places I was going. But it came super frequently all the time. It just felt really nice. It was smoother, and Cole agreed with me on this, so I'm not crazy. It accelerates and decelerates smoother, so it's easier to just stand there. I don't think we're crazy on this. I think that's a legit thing. Yeah, the subway absolutely kicks ass here. The buses were pretty good too, but I would say not substantially better than Toronto. Amazing museums. Again, I can't say overall every single one of them beats the matchup with Toronto. But I will say, all love to the AGO. I've been to the AGO so many times. I do love it. I'll go again, I'm sure. They have great rotating exhibits and stuff. But the Musée des Belles Arts blows it out of the water. It's just way bigger and they just have way more stuff. And like that sounds like a stupid way to compare something like a gallery, but like on another level, you're not there to see particular paintings generally. You're not there to have one particular thing you're looking for. Like maybe sometimes that's your goal is, oh, I know this painting is here and I really want to see it. But it's much more like this is the time you spend there, the overall experience of traveling through all the different galleries. So yeah, the Musée des Belles Arts was amazing. The Biodome was also fantastic. I haven't been to the Toronto Zoo in a long time, so I can't really compare. Nor have I been to the Ripley's Aquarium in quite a while. That one I've been to more recently. The Ripley's Aquarium is really great. I don't know, it's hard to say. And then the other museums I haven't been to. The Montreal Notre Dame, I guess, if you can count that as a museum, was fantastic. And the Aura performance was fantastic. I don't know. I think overall, my feeling is like the touristy type things, the museums, the galleries, just judging on the ones that I haven't been to, it feels like the ones in Montreal interest me more than the ones in Toronto. But I do love the ROM. I love the ROM. I don't know. This is a really tough one. I mean, Montreal has like a Holocaust museum though. I didn't go to it. I didn't get a chance to go to it. And I kind of really wanted to, find the correct time to do something like that because I felt like it would maybe ruin me for a few days. But it's the fact that it exists makes me want to give some points to Montreal. I don't know. This is really tough. What else? It's more beautifuler in general. I just think the architecture is kind of nice in Montreal compared to Toronto. Toronto is so eager to rip things down and replace them. Toronto does have some really beautiful old areas, but they're few and far between, whereas Montreal still has huge neighborhoods that are all just pre-war houses, and they just look gorgeous. Parks is kind of a toss-up. Most shopping, I think, is kind of a toss-up. Probably Toronto wins overall for shopping. But like these sort of specialty stores I mentioned, Montreal wins out. Montreal seemed to have better vintage stuff, but like, I don't know, I haven't really been vintage shopping in Toronto much lately. This is a toss-up. It's a toss-up. I don't know. It's tough to say. I'd say Montreal politically better. Just kind of based on like the discourse you hear around things happening in the city. But like, it's like a really tough one, right? Because if I ever got off my lazy ass and actually started like organizing and attending stuff, do I necessarily want to be in a place where things are better established, or do I want to be in a place where there's more work to be done? I don't know. I don't know which one's actually better. I mean, I don't know, but you definitely see like a lot more like Antifa stuff here. You definitely feel like more of a leftist presence. Just kind of you love to see it. And then there's also an absence of the heavy capital that you hate. Like far fewer tech companies and finance companies and stuff are situated in Montreal than in Toronto. So that kind of like negative aura, that gross feeling of being around a bunch of business people is much less so here. Jeez, I don't know. Let's like, this feels stacked, right? But like this one is huge for me personally. And then there's also the factors that I don't even really want to get into of like, I have a lot more friends in Toronto and Toronto is a lot closer to other friends, whereas Montreal, relatively speaking, is in the middle of nowhere. But then it's like, that I can always make new friends. Would I want to make new friends in Montreal? A lot of really cool people around here. The art scene is fantastic. But then there's also a lot of amazing art that comes out of Toronto. Like, I don't know. But then it's like the language barrier, meeting people around here. Is there even one? All the youth speak English fluently, but then would I still be cut off at some level? I just can't understand the culture as well. It's not like I grew up in Toronto either. Because it is cheaper here. I could get a nicer place in a nicer area. But then am I just a gentrifier? I don't know. It's tough. Two amazing cities. Two places I really love and cherish. Two places that no matter where I end up living, I'm certainly going to visit the other one with some regularity. It's tough to say. But overall, Montreal, great. Fantastic place. Do I have any other cons? I fell down. No, I fell down in Toronto too. I fell on friggin' my friend George's porch. Shout out to George. I was heading into a party in his house, and I tried to step up on his porch, and I immediately just fell on my butt. And that was a worse fall too. It didn't feel like a worse fall in the moment, but it hurt way worse for way longer. So that one doesn't count. I don't know, I guess that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. I'll be heading back to Waterloo soon. And if you know me, I might have a souvenir for you. You can look forward to that, I guess. Yeah, that's it. All right, goodbye. This is the end of Emily in Montreal. Emily in Paris ends with Emily standing on a bridge, and she's calling. This is spoilers, I guess, but the fuck cares? She's calling and she's going, I've made my decision, but whether she's gonna stay in Paris or go back. And she's crying. That's how emotional she is about this decision. Nothing like that here. I'm just going, I don't know. I'll think about it. But yeah, this is my list. This summarizes the whole series, I guess. All right. Bye.